All right, and welcome into BP NFL. We sit on the precipice of Week 10 of the NFL season, which means it's time to give you our best bets. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, sitting in for Joey P. That unfortunately means no Italian references on today's show, but we do have a full cast with some pretty sick heads of lettuce as well. I'm joined by the Undertaker, Andrew Erickson, who I met this summer in person for the first time, and I gotta say, the dude's more jacked than you would think. What's up, Erickson? Thanks for taking time out of crushing creatine and lifting to join us today.
Oh, what an intro. I can go grab some oregano if we need it to get the Italian juices flowing. But Seth, happy to have you on here and excited to break down Week 10. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. I'm also joined by a man who will be making breakfast early Sunday morning as he takes in his Giants overseas in Germany, Terrell Furman Jr. What's good, boss?
Oh, man. I mean, the Italian references. I'm glad they're getting rid of Italians like the Giants have gotten rid of Tommy DeVito, and they just said Daniel Jones is going to be the guy. And so this show and Giants, two organizations that do hate Italians and not giving them the love that they need this week, because Tommy DeVito probably should be starting over Daniel Jones. Drew Lock should be starting over honestly, Anthony Richardson should be starting over Daniel Jones. Bryce Young should be starting over Daniel Jones. Everybody should be starting over Daniel Jones.
Maybe you should be starting over Daniel Jones as well.
I bet you we win a game. We would have beat the Commanders if I started.
The outline for today's program looks like this. We'll get to the gentleman's top ATS and total picks. We'll also give you my upset special and parlay of the week. It's going to be glorious. Thanks for everyone tuning in. The easiest way to support us is like this video if you enjoy this type of content. Also, subscribe to the BettingPros YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, download the BettingPros app for iOS or Android. With the Sportsbook Sync, you can automatically track your bets across all major sportsbooks in one place. Easily monitor your bet performances by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and parlays. Create custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. Get a free trial of the BettingPros Premium by downloading the app and activating your trial on the upgrade screen. All right, and let's go ahead and jump into the picks. Terrell, I want to start with you. You're expecting maybe a bounce back from the Saints after Dennis Allen is out.
Okay, I'll admit, I would love to string together multiple really good weeks. And last week, the Saints pick was, in hindsight, not a good pick. In hindsight. All the favorites won, except the Saints. Nonetheless, Dennis Allen got canned. And I mean, this is the ultimate get-up spot. You got the head coach that is gone. You're bringing in somebody new. And also, I was listening to a podcast, and one of the offensive linemen, I forgot his name, but last year for the New Orleans Saints talked about how Dennis Allen lost the locker room last year when they played, guess who? The Atlanta Falcons, and they were killing them, and they wanted to get Jamal Williams his first touchdown of the season, and They did, and Dennis Allen did not have their back. He started copping pleas. He started telling Arthur Smith that, hey, by the way, Arthur Smith, a coach that got fired. He was trying to go over there and be like, hey man, I'm sorry about that. I really didn't mean to for all that. No, he lost the locker room. The locker room has been lost all season. If I told you to bet the Saints before this, I am sorry, but I'm telling you right now, plus 3.5, the game after Dennis Smith against this Falcons team that I've been telling you all year is not legit, that they're not legit. They're 100% getting up for this game. I think that they're going to be able to attack the secondary. Derek Carr will look competent, and they're going to be able to run the football on this Falcons front. But the biggest thing is that matchup with the secondary, because the Falcons have zero pass rush. I think the Saints defense still can get to Kirk Cousins and rattle Kirk Cousins here, but there's nobody on the Falcons side of the ball that's really going to give a consistent threat to this Saints team in terms of a pass rush. They haven't done it all season. So I like the Saints. I think they easily covered 3.5. I think the money line is a play as well. I think this is the game after the game, and they get it done with the new head coach against the Atlanta Falcons.
I like the call. I think it's definitely a little bit ballsy, but I like the confidence. And, man, what about this Falcons pass rush? They've invested so many first-round picks and offseason capital into it, and it feels like they can just never get to the quarterback. And if there's anyone motivated, Erickson, it's got to be Derek Carr after getting just destroyed on Twitter by Michael Thomas last week.
I mean, it's the classic dead cat bounce, right? Head coach gets fired. What happens the next week?
Yeah.
The team covers. They don't always win, but it seems like they always seem to cover. Jets happened this year. First head coach got fired. Next week, Jets cover. So again, these trends like the Honolulu flu, teams that play the Lions the next week, you got to fade them into oblivion. Same thing with backing these coaches. So Furman, I like the call on the Saints.
Erickson, you're going overseas with your first pick of the week. What is it?
Yeah, so the Giants taking on the Carolina Panthers in Munich, Germany, and I'm going to bet the under in the game at 41.5 points. International games, the trends are clear. You bet the unders in the game, and you bet on the favorites. I don't want to bet on the Giants as basically now up to touchdown favorites, so I'm just going to go and opt for the under in the game total. You look at 7 of the Giants' last 10 games have gone under the points line, and when you look at these two teams, they're coming off of impromptu 2 overs for both the New York Giants and Carolina Panthers, coming off games where there were points scored. I as much as I'd love for Germany to get an excellent game, high-flying offenses across the board, point blank, this is Daniel Jones versus Bryce Young. If you just blindly bet that in the under, I think that you're going to come out in the green more often than not. So I like the under here. The Giants still have a decent red zone defense, top 5 red zone defense, and I think that both teams want to establish the run. Last week, we saw the New York Giants establish, they did not want to throw the ball whatsoever. I think that their pass rate over expectation was minus 6%. After rewatching that game in the first half, I looked up, have they thrown a pass yet? I was baffled because it was either Daniel Jones scrambling, Tyrone Tracy runs, Devin Singletary runs. The Carolina Panthers have the NFL's worst run defense. Brian Daboll knows what he has to do offensively, and it's just pound the rock. So I don't think that's conducive to a lot of points necessarily. So for me, it's going to be an under. I'm going to follow the trends in international series. 6-1 the last 7 games overseas towards the under.
Yeah, I love how the one game that went over was that Jaguars-Bears game. And, of course, I was on the under of that one. So maybe I'll tail you here. Maybe I'll get back in the winning side of the international games. Let's go to Terrell with his second pick. Terrell, you're once again back in Bo Nix here.
Oh, what? Come on now. I mean, first of all, last week, I apologize. And despite watching again last week and you know what, last week wasn't horrible. It was 2-3. It wasn't
Furman,
horrible.
The process was right. Do not apologize.
And no, not even the process was right, but watching the game, they fell short on a fourth down when they ran a freaking end around instead of going, Bo Nix straight up the middle and go get the first down. It was so many questionable decisions around the goal line. I even thought the Philly special was questionable. It worked out, but I thought it was questionable. I don't know why you don't just go back to Courtland Sutton there and just let Courtland Sutton, but I guess Courtland Sutton did technically get a touchdown. Nonetheless, that game got ugly really, really fast. However, that means that the Broncos are a close your eyes special here, Erickson. And guess what? Close your eyes special has been profitable when it's not the Carolina Panthers. So we can look at it this week. And so we got a close your eyes special against the Kansas City Chiefs. We also have a Kansas City Chiefs team that only cares about winning the game and doesn't care about covering the spread. This season, when they have been laying more than a touchdown, they are actually 0-3-1 against the spread. They have not covered a single game. Not one. I think that this Broncos defense in a division game is going to get up for this team. They are going to hold Kansas City defensively, just not to a high points total. And we know how the Kansas City defense gets down. They rush the quarterback. They're able to get to the passer. And then they have a very strong secondary that I think is going to rattle Bo Nix a little bit. So I don't think that there's going to be a lot of points, but I don't think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be able to run away with this as well. I think that Bo Nix is going to be able to do enough. Sean Payton has hitched his horse to Bo Nix, and he said, we're going to make sure that Bo Nix doesn't look horrible. Well, guess what? He looked horrible last week. I think they have a bounce back week this week. Again, Kansas City Chiefs do not cover this spread. They do not. I will take the points easily.
Yeah, Kansas City fading them against high spreads is always something I think is usually in the best interest of a bettor. Erickson, I think you believe in the Broncos as well this week.
I do. And it's for a lot of the reasons that we pointed out last week, liking the Denver Broncos, because you look at Bo Nix, what he's been able to do as an underdog, it's been great. 4-1 against the spread, 3-2 straight up. So he's been someone that's been able to rise above. And this has been bigger spreads by more than 6 points where Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos have been kind of counted out and they've shown up. Last week it didn't work out because it was a pissed off Ravens team and they give a ton of points. Their defense played horrible, but every defense plays horrible when they play the Ravens. So yes, in a game that's going to be much tighter, you have the Chiefs coming off a short week, playing on Monday night in an overtime game, nonetheless.
True.
It's a divisional game. There's always one team with all these dominating teams, right? There's always one team that seems to have the number of the Chiefs. And it's been the Denver Broncos more often than not that have given Patrick Mahomes trouble. The last 5 games against the Chiefs, the Broncos have covered in 4 of them. So similar to my Patriots and the Dolphins, always bet against them every time they play in Miami, even during the Tom Brady era. It's similar here with Denver playing the Kansas City Chiefs. So we talked about how the Chiefs, they don't blow teams out. 6 of the Chiefs' 8 wins this year have been in close games. So the Broncos have played teams really tight all year. Last week was the first time they had lost by more than one possession. So I think that they keep this game close. It's a divisional game. Again, at the end of the day, Chiefs are going to remain undefeated and be 9-0, but Bo Nix is going to be standing there. Another one against the spread. Let's go.
Well, that was my question. Could the Broncos actually be live to win this outright, you guys think? Because the letdown spot for the Chiefs, it has to come. I thought it was on Monday night, and they came all the way back.
I mean, I'm 100% for fading Kansas City in any game that they are looking ahead to the Buffalo Bills. So yep, I think that if you're going to take a week, like if there was going to be a week where you take the Kansas City Chiefs to not cover the spread but win the game outright, I don't think it would be this one. I think this is the week, especially in that loss against and how bad they looked against the Ravens, that the Chiefs could 100% sleepwalk through this game into a big matchup against the Buffalo Bills next week. So maybe not this one.
Erickson, you're kind of on that same mindset. You like the Broncos to cover here, but not win outright.
Probably not. But I mean, the fact that you're talking about, look, Chiefs are playing so close to the vest with some of these matchups. Eventually, they're going to drop one, and it's going to be one that no one really expected again against Buffalo. Yes, that's a game that could go either way, but I mean, Furman.
Come on.
Furman, you're the king of the sprinkle, baby.
Yeah, you always got a sprinkle.
Sprinkle on the dogs.
Nice little Salt Bay, like Salt Bay. Yeah.
Little ratatouille going on over there. And before we continue, I did want to remind everyone about the BettingPros Discord. Are you looking to up your game in sports betting? Well, join our exclusive sports betting Discord community at bettingpros.com/chat. Not only can you connect with expert handicappers like Terrell, like Erickson, who can provide free picks for the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, the NHL, player props, live betting, and more. Also NASCAR, just going to say that. Plus, join our NFL podcast group, sync your picks, and use the quick pick feature on the BettingPros sports betting app to get a chance to win some free prizes. And Terrell, we're going back to you where you like Jim Harbaugh's guys to bow up here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you know how many games the Chargers have given up over 3 touchdowns this season? 21 points.
Any? Maybe one?
No, I think it's 0.
None at all. The Steelers, by the way, Justin Fields. So for Mike Tomlin, that is still playing Russ, Justin Fields had the highest points total against the Chargers.
Let's go, baby.
Just throwing that out there. But here we are with the 5-2-1 ATS Chargers team going up against a 1-7 ATS Titans team. I could very well be falling into the trap here. I could. But if it's a trap, I'm dead. And I'm perfectly fine dying to the trap this week. Because the Chargers, and these are 2 good defenses, but at the end of the day, the Chargers have been able to find offense when they couldn't run the ball, and I don't think the Tennessee can find any offense at all whatsoever. I think that they're still having this low-key internal battle of who is the better quarterback on their roster right now, and I don't think they understand because Mason Rudolph hasn't been very good at all. I didn't think he played well against the New England Patriots, and the thing that is going to set this over the top and get me Chargers laying 7.5 here is the fact that it did not cash last week on the live stream, but it's going to cash this week. Titans are going to give up a defensive touchdown in this game. Like I am almost, whether it's a block punt, whether it's a punt return on special teams, whether if it's just old-fashioned scoop and score, pick 6, baby, they are going to give up a defensive touchdown. And Seth, I have told you, defensive touchdowns get you covers in this world. So,
yes.
Hey, maybe if you want to take the plus money and just take the defensive touchdown, then I say do that. I think there's ways that the Chargers cover this spread without it, but I think the defensive touchdown is 100% going to be the thing to get us there. I don't trust this Tennessee offense at all. I don't think they're playing well at all. That's why I was fading the Browns this week on the stream, because I didn't think that they could do anything against the Chargers defense. Harbaugh just has the defense rolling, and it's creating offense for them, and they're playing low scoring games, but they're covering the numbers. So yeah, I love the Chargers here laying 7.5.
I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed in Mason Rudolph. I took him in the last round of a couple deep best ball leagues. Just, hey, what are the chances he gets in there? I thought Will Levis might not be the guy full time.
You were partially right.
Yeah, but I this isn't vintage Mason Rudolph that we got last year with the Steelers. Well, I feel like.
Seth, if you just watch the first quarter, Mason Rudolph looks pretty good. It's just after the first drive, it's just not. You just stop.
He's good scripted. He's good scripted for sure. Absolutely. He needs Matt Canada out there. I think that's where he was at his best last season.
This is why Tomlin is so good. These guys are not relevant when they're not playing for Tomlin.
I mean, Duck Hodges is out there. He's married to Lainey Wilson right now, and that's the only time he ever gets in the spotlight. You'll see him on like a CMT red carpet.
I mean, Mike Tomlin was able to get Deontay Johnson on the Ravens, which may be the one we may look on and be like, espionage. This was at its finest.
Honestly, when he went to the Ravens, Boggs and I were both texting back and forth. Said, "Oh, this is good news for us. I'm feeling good about it."
The drop, that first drop against the Steelers is gonna be it's gonna feed families. Like the first drop against the Steelers is gonna feed families.
Erickson, in true Undertaker fashion, you're going with a couple unders to round us out here. What's your first one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars under 44.5. So we're getting news today here on Thursday that we're recording where Trevor Lawrence is unlikely to play. So that means we're going to get Mac Jones. We've seen the spread move, but the total hasn't moved as much. So I still want to take advantage because I want to bet the under. Look, the Jaguars, for the most part, this season have been an over machine, and the Vikings are 2-0 towards the over in their last 2 road games. But when you look at which games have gone over when Minnesota has played on the road, it's again offenses like the Rams, the Lions, the Packers. Would you put a Mac Jones-led Jaguars team in that bucket, guys? I wouldn't, personally. I've seen Mac Jones play a lot of football as a Patriots fan, and I can say that when he doesn't have a strong supporting cast, which Jacksonville does not, offensive line issues, backfield issues, I like the under in this game. Again, I think that the value's gone with the spread now that it's out to a touchdown for the Vikings on the road, and Sam Darnold just
it might be some value on that spread still.
I mean, maybe there is.
It might be some value on the spread still.
At the end of the day, again, I talked about this in the Sunday night preview before the Vikings and Colts game. At the end of the day, this is Sam Darnold versus Joe Flacco, and now we're looking at this is Sam Darnold versus Mac Jones. Again, blindly betting this, you're going to want to take the under in those types of matchup. So for me, and I will say, I will give a little bit of credit to the Jaguars defense. I thought they looked pretty decent against the Eagles, who are just filled with high-flying offensive players. I mean, their offense couldn't do anything. And I think they're generating some decent pass rush. And we just seen with Sam Darnold, like, every game, he makes 1 or 2 just absolutely boneheaded decisions where it's like, dude, just stick to the script. Just don't.
Old Sam Darnold.
Old Sam Darnold always shows up at certain points, which cause the Vikings to have issues. So I just think that this game is going to go under the total. Again, I also just have no expectations for Jacksonville's offense to score against Brian Flores. I mean, he's going to put the clamps on Mac Jones, and that concerns me for points. So again, I think points will be a premium, so I'm going to go under.
That's probably my favorite pick on this entire slate that you guys have laid out here. So good on you there, Erickson. Terrell, I want to come back to you. You like the 49ers this week going up against Tampa Bay. Potentially Christian McCaffrey will be active in this one. That's still to be determined. But what do you like about the Niners?
So this is a very, very hard pick for me because we have Kyle Shanahan laying a touchdown on the road. And that is not the best trend in historical speaking. However, we have something that doesn't happen very often in the National Football League. And the schedule makers have decided to give Tampa Bay a team that is off a bye while they are off Monday Night Football.
And overtime.
Erickson, you're doing too much here. We're about to break the matrix. Whoa! I can't type that into the query here. We're gonna break the matrix here. But what I will say is that teams that are coming off a bye and playing a team on Monday Night Football are 9-5 against the spread, 64%. I think that this is a spot where the offense for the 49ers, whether Christian McCaffrey plays or not, and it sounds like he's going to play, can be really, really good. I think we're going to see what Christian McCaffrey does to this offense. The fact that they're not going to have drives stall out like they have in the past through this run without Christian McCaffrey, because Christian McCaffrey is so good in the passing game, and he's gonna be the option on third down. I think they get better on third down. I think overall they look better as an offense, and I still question the Baker Mayfield led team without Chris Godwin and without Mike Evans. I just think that offense completely, they need something on the outside. They need somebody that can get separation. I think that's going to be really, really hard against this 49ers front. So unfortunately, I do like the 49ers laying the big number here. This is a great teaser leg this week. I think there's a lot of good teaser plays this week. I think this is a great teaser play this week, but I do like them still to cover the number. I think that this is going to be ugly. I think that Tampa Bay had their game last week where they were kind of ended and they lost it at the end. This is going to be the route, and then they'll figure it out, pick up the piece after that.
Do we have any word if Jalen McMillan is active, Erickson?
I think that he opened this week with a DNP. So considering they're going on a bye week next week, this is like the second time he's been dealing with the hamstring. I doubt that he plays. Sterling Shepard also didn't practice. Again, they're on a short week, so they're running. I mean, Cade Otton is going to
Scotty Miller.
Cade Otton's going to he's on the Falcons.
The Steelers, baby.
Dude, he's Arthur Smith.
No, he's not even on there. This is what's Palmer.
Trey Palmer.
So
yeah,
Trey
Nebraska
out
pride.
There, so he's getting his cardio in. Not getting any targets, unfortunately. But
Cade Otton's going to have 20 targets.
20 targets.
Yeah, bet the over on Cade Otton for sure. Erickson, I'm coming back to you. Indianapolis and Indiana, the state in general, has a big weekend of football ahead. IU is rolling top 10 in the college football rankings. They got Michigan coming to town. And Indianapolis Colts are also at home against the Buffalo Bills. Where do you see this game going?
So yeah, another under for me. I was thinking about the Colts as underdogs here. I did think about it, but ultimately,
little Flacco special.
Little Flacco special. Bounce back after the Vikings, but ultimately, I think that the total still is way too high at 48. So you look at Bills' last 8 road games, 6 of them have gone under the total. The Colts are 4-0 towards the under in their last 4 games. There hasn't been a Bills road game this year that has exceeded 45 points. So why are we just assuming, like 48? 48 to me seems, shootout. I just don't see that from this game, from the optics of it. I think that the Colts will have some success running the football. That's how you beat the Buffalo defense, and that's ball control. And we're dealing with Josh Allen with these receivers missing time, dealing with injuries. Their offense, again, they always find a way to kind of pull it out at the end. I think that this is going to be a closer game than most people expect, which is kind of why I like teasing the Colts a little bit. The Colts have played in a lot of close games this season. I don't think it's a blowout. And I think it's just going to be under the total for that reason. So the trends have kind of pointed towards the under. And usually I'm just better at betting totals than sides anyway. So even though I did mention the Colts as kind of an underdog I like, I'm just going to ultimately bet the total at 48, take the under.
He's got a brand. He's sticking to it. I can't blame him at all. Let's move to Washington, where I was looking at tickets for this game before the season started, Steelers and the Washington Commanders. I was like, there's no way I'm paying $200 for a ticket against the Commanders, which is going to be a blowout. Turns out Steelers are dogs in this one. They're dogs by 3 points here. Terrell, you'll be at this game. So what are you going to be laying down?
Yeah, I will be in the game. And I might be swinging a terrible towel when you see the crowd pan over me, because
let's go. I got a couple.
Steelers.
I got white, I got yellow, I got pink, I got all the colors you need, Terrell.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, send that to VA to me. I will 100% be in there. And I think I have the motion right of swing. Let me see. I got a rag here. I think I have the motion right of doing the towel. I got it right.
Good.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, yeah, there we go. Look at that. That's great towel motion right there.
Just can't hit your neighbor. Just don't hit your neighbor. I've smacked some people in the face before. They've been Browns fans. We're not happy.
And I'm sitting on the home side of the field too. So I'm definitely. And you know what? Would you believe that they have towels that they're giving out? They're giving out red towels for the game. The Commanders fans. The Commanders Stadium. They're giving out red towels for the game. That is disgusting. A disgusting act. And because of that, we're going to fade them. We're going to fade them in this game. Plus 3 for the Steelers. But there's other reasons as well. We got Mike Tomlin coming off of a bye, who's been really, really good. Since 2018, Mike Tomlin is 5-1 ATS, 6-0 straight up off of a bye. Like, the only time he did not cover is when he was laying 14 points against the Miami Dolphins, and he didn't end up covering that line. And in fact, he only won that game by 13. So Mike Tomlin, really, really locked in off of the bye, really, really locked in as a dog, as we all know. I'm going to take him as a road dog here because I think this Pittsburgh Steelers defense is live. I think they're going to be able to get to Jaden Daniels, the quarterback. I think TJ Watt is going to feast in the backfield. They've been really, really good stopping the run, and that run has been really, really good in what has kept the Commanders' drives going. Trust me, I know. I'm a Giants fan. I saw them run the ball last week and keep drives going when they probably shouldn't. And so I'm still very, very questionable of this Commanders defense. They are 26 in the NFL in rush DVOA. I think Najee's going to have a great game and make it a lot easier on Russ. I think that they're not as good in the passing game as everybody tries to make them out to be. I swear they're not as good in the passing game, and I think Russ can take advantage of that. I think this is Steelers and how Tomlin does this. As a dog with low expectations, he comes out and gets a win. So in close games, you play Mike Tomlin. I'm taking Mike Tomlin here.
Erickson, you also like another play here in Washington. What is it?
Shocking. It's an under play, an under 45.5. So I think Furman did a good job of kind of outlining the Steelers defense and how this is a big challenge for the Commanders offense. But I want to spin to the other side where I really like this Commanders defense and what they've done over the season under Dan Quinn.
They've gotten better.
They've gotten better. They've improved dramatically. They're bringing in Marshawn Lattimore again. Now they have a defensive back that can match up with some of these big-bodied wide receivers from George Pickens with Mike Williams now added into the fold. When you look at the Commanders this season at home, no team has scored more than 18 points against them at home this year. Third fewest points per game allowed at home. Number one fewest yards per game at home this season. So I know home road splits can sometimes be a little noisy when it comes to, well, who have you played? Things like that. But last year, it was so stark with the Cleveland Browns, for example, and there was a real edge to taking advantage of it where, they're at home, back the Browns defense. They're on the road. It's a sieve. It's going to give up points all over the board. So that's why I like the under here at 45.5. It's kind of in that sweet spot range where the market isn't really sold. Is it going to be a shootout? Not so sure. Is it going to be, because usually Steelers road games, 38.5. like you just lock it in every single time. A Steelers road game, 38.5, 37.5. So at 45.5, I think there's some value here. So again, Steelers are going to keep it close. Mike Tomlin's record, I don't think this is going to be a blowout in any way. So I'm going to take the under.
All right, let's stay there in the nation's capital with my upset special of the week. I'm going Steelers plus 125 at Bet Rivers against the Commanders. And you have to bet this at Bet Rivers because Bet Rivers, this is out of Pittsburgh. It's a Pittsburgh book. It's a Pittsburgh casino. You got to bet it at Bet Rivers or it's not going to hit. So make sure you have Bet Rivers installed. They have a very lengthy registration process. I had to send them my birth certificate, my ID, everything. They had to know.
Security number here.
Yes. So you have to go through that. But once you get there, Bet Rivers, that's a nice book. It's a good book out there in the Berg. Honestly, though, I prefer not to bet on any of my teams, whether that's the Steelers or Penn State, but this is a great spot for the Lurs. Mike Tomlin, 13-4 off a week's rest all time, including winning 6 straight, 3-1 against the Commies in his career as well. And this Commanders defense, it's much improved, especially in the secondary, as Andrew alluded to, but they still have been leaky to the running back position. RBs are averaging 113.5 rushing yards per game and 1.25 touchdowns per game over the past month. I think Arthur Smith's going to dial up a heavy run game, especially now that Jaylen Warren's getting back off the bye, should be fully healthy. He's looked terrible all season long, so I think he'll be healthy. I think Najee will get going here. And Jaden Daniels, he's been awesome. We can't deny that at all, guys, but has he ever seen anything in the NFL like TJ Watt coming from one side, Alex Highsmith coming off the edge on the other side? This defense in Pittsburgh allowing the second fewest points per game, 14.9, and I think it's just going to be too much for Washington. So give me them to take down the Commanders in the stadium with the poop pipe, boys.
Love it.
Hey, no, I like it. I mean, I'm on Steelers, and I hope I see a Steelers win in the stadium. I would be so disappointed if the Commanders get a win, and I have to walk out the stadium with the Commanders fans cheering. But especially with their faulty, terrible towels, that is just un-American to jock their terrible towels like that. They are 100% taking a loss here.
Just don't sit under the poop pipes. I don't know where those are. I don't know what's going on with that and the renovations of that stadium, but just keep your head on a swivel out there, Terrell.
I don't wanna brag, but they're pretty good seats. They're pretty good seats. So
okay, all right. I'll keep an eye out for you. I'll round out the program with my parlay of the week. It's a 4-legger for combined odds of plus 308 coming from DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm going Steelers plus 3 minus 118. And I'm going to put a couple money lines in here. Eagles money line, minus 360. Cooper Rush versus an Eagles team firing on all cylinders right now. Sign me up. Chargers money line, minus 355. The 2-6 Titans on the road to face Jim Harbaugh. And, I mean, this team has been all gears are turning right now for them. J.J. Watt was out there earlier this week, and he said, like, the vibes are just immaculate in that building. So I'm going to back Harbaugh there. And then the Giants money line, minus 285. Can Bryce Young do it twice in a row? I don't think so. On the road in Germany against the team with 35 sacks, the most in the league by a wide margin. Giddy up. Erickson, what's the one leg of this do you think that sinks it?
I mean,
is it the Eagles money line?
Oh, man. I mean, if it wasn't Mike McCarthy, I would feel that way, but it's Nick Sirianni versus Mike McCarthy, so
true.
They're going to find it. I mean, Furman, I'm looking at the Giants. They're going to win this game, right? I mean, favorites always win in international games. They're favored, so they should win, right?
I will admit, the Giants are very good when we go overseas. When we go overseas, we get wins.
Packers last year.
I will admit that, yeah.
Is Daniel Jones going to show up pregame with the lederhosens and be just all ready to go? Probably not.
Hopefully, defensive touchdown for the Giants is how we get the win. And that is, I think Bryce Young is going to be. I mean, I'm currently sitting on Giants to lead the league in sacks, 50-1. So, I expect
you need him to get
rack up
wow.
a couple 3-4. Yeah, preseason bet. I'm not bragging or anything, but the Giants have been really, really good in the front seven, and we kept Olujuware, who I don't know why we kept him because he's just going to walk for free yet again, just like Saquon. But I'm not the GM of the team. I'm not the coach of the team. And that's why the team is where they're at now. So
when's Thibodeau coming back? Is he coming back soon?
A couple weeks. I think a couple weeks. He's close though. I know he's close. So
More
here we are. It is what it is. If I had to pick one, it's probably Cooper Rush pissing everybody off and getting a win. And that's
he did
the one.
It before.
I think the Cowboys are horrible. I think the Cowboys can potentially lose every single game rest of the season. But if there was one time the Cowboys were to piss me off, it's probably when Cooper Rush is quarterback.
Okay, well, fair enough. Make sure you guys are tailing all of our picks. Sure. Okay, all right.
100% Cooper Rush.
Well, you can check out this pick and all of our picks on the BettingPros sports betting app. Terrell is at bettingpros.com/Terrell. Erickson, bettingpros.com/Erickson. And I don't have the sweet URL yet. I'm just bettingpros.com/you/between_SethFF. So I'm going to have to work on that. Maybe I can pull a couple strings.
When your four-legger hits, you'll get the URL you want.
Okay. I appreciate that. Okay, I will make sure I'll bring that up with Blaine and Mike and everybody.
Oh, man, yes. If the four-legger hits, we're getting him a regular name, man.
That will do it for us today on BP NFL. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the BettingPros YouTube channel and podcast feed. Plus, download the BettingPros app and sync your sportsbooks today. For Andrew Erickson, Terrell Furman Jr., I'm Seth Woolcock. Thanks for watching. Take care, y'all.